Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to the latest episode of our podcast. Today, we have a real and captivating story about the journey of obtaining a visa. It's a story many of you might relate to. We'll hear it from our friend, Ollie. So, if you're ready, join us on this journey. Mezong, are you excited?
Oh, absolutely, Sophia. I can't wait to hear Ollie's story. It's always fascinating to hear about these personal journeys. Let's dive in.
Ollie, tell us how this all started. Why did you decide to study in the United States?
Well, I've always dreamed of studying at a top university in the US. The opportunities, the culture, and the education system there are amazing. So, I finally decided it was time to make that dream a reality.
I totally get that, Ollie. The US is a fantastic place for higher education. But I bet the first step, getting the visa, was quite a challenge, right?
Oh, you have no idea. The visa process is no joke. It was the first major hurdle I had to overcome.
I can imagine. So, how did you start? What was the first thing you did to prepare?
I started by collecting all the necessary documents, academic transcripts, resumes, recommendation letters, and 1,000 other things. Every time I thought I had everything, something new would come to mind that I needed to prepare. I made a long checklist and checked off each item day by day.
That sounds like a lot of work. Did you have any help, or were you on your own?
Mostly on my own, but I did get some advice from friends who had gone through the process before. Their tips were invaluable.
That's great. Having some guidance must have been really helpful.
Yeah, it makes everything a bit less overwhelming when you know someone who's been through it.
And then came the dreaded embassy appointment, right? How did that go?
Oh, booking the appointment was a whole adventure on its own. The slots were filling up fast, and I had to keep checking the website constantly. After several attempts, I finally managed to book a date. The interview day was approaching fast, and my stress levels were through the roof.
I can feel the tension. How did you handle the nerves?
I tried to stay calm and focused. I kept reminding myself that I had done everything I could to prepare. Talking to friends helped too.
Yeah, having a support system makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Sometimes just knowing others are in the same boat can be a huge relief.
Tell us about the interview day. What was it like?
The interview day arrived. I went to the embassy and waited in line. While waiting, I met a few others who were there for their interviews too. One was a doctor attending a medical conference, and another was a family visiting their daughter who was studying in the US. These conversations helped ease my anxiety a bit.
It's amazing how a little conversation can help calm your nerves. Did you feel more at ease after talking to them?
Definitely. It was reassuring to know I wasn't alone in this.
And then it was your turn, right? How did you feel walking into the interview room?
It was my turn. I entered the embassy, went through several security checks, and reached the interview room. The visa officer was a young, kind woman who greeted me with a smile. She said, "Hello, can I have your documents, please?" I handed over my documents, and she began asking questions.
That must have been nerve-wracking. What did she ask you?
She asked why I wanted to go to the United States. I told her I wanted to pursue a degree in computer engineering at university name. Then she asked if I had a scholarship, and I explained that I had a partial scholarship and would cover the rest of the expenses myself. After a few more questions, she smiled and said, "Everything seems to be in order. Your visa is approved."
That must have been such a relief. How did you feel at that moment?
I couldn't believe it. All the stress and worrying transformed into pure joy. As I walked out of the embassy, I took a deep breath and texted my friends, "My visa got approved."
What an incredible moment. I'm so happy for you, Ollie. That must have been an amazing feeling.
It really was. All the hard work paid off, and I was finally ready to start my journey.
And we're so glad you shared this story with us. It's a great reminder that perseverance pays off. Ollie, there were a few terms and phrases you used that I think might be worth clarifying for our listeners. For example, what exactly do you mean by partial scholarship?
Oh, sure. A partial scholarship means that the university covers part of my tuition and fees, but I still need to pay for some of the costs myself, like living expenses and other fees.
That makes sense, and when you said checked off each item day by day, it sounds like you were very methodical about the process.
Yes, exactly. I made a checklist of all the documents and steps I needed to complete. It helped me stay organized and ensure I didn't forget anything important.
That's a great tip for anyone going through a similar process. And dreaded embassy appointment, that phrase really captures the anxiety, doesn't it?
Definitely. It's one of those things you know is crucial, but it feels so daunting because so much depends on it.
Totally, and it's good to remind everyone that having a support system can make a big difference, like you mentioned earlier.
Absolutely. Talking to friends who had been through it before and meeting others in the same situation really helped.
Well, Ollie, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It's been truly inspiring. Any final words for our listeners?
Just keep going, no matter how tough it gets. Believe in your dreams and work hard, and eventually, you'll get there.
Great advice, and to all our listeners, remember to stay positive and keep striving for your goals.
That was Ollie's story and his journey to get a visa. We hope this story has inspired you to keep striving for your goals, no matter the challenges. Until the next episode, have a great day and keep dreaming big.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you have similar stories, be sure to share them with us. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.